Alright, welcome to another Let's Tank, this time with Astrith, the dwarven Paladin. As you can see, once again, all my gear is greens and whites, so to get easily from blacksmithing, quest rewards, random drops. Talents, I have 3 points into Divinity and 1 point into Seals of the Pure. Divinity increases your healing taken and done, more important for the healing taken in this case. Seals of the Pure, small threat increase by improving damage done by your judgments, or rather by your seals. Alright, so we're going to go do Deadmines as soon as we get a group that's actually going to answer the queue. Come on. There we go. Okay. Alright, zoning in here, we've got a Shaman Healer. Then for DPS, we've got a Hunter, Mage, and Warrior. Mage and Warrior both in BOAs. It was especially bad for the Warrior because he thinks he's going to tank, as you can see here in just a moment. And there he goes ahead of me. Alright, thankfully we've got Avenger's Shield, which is a great tanking ability. Avenger's Shield is the ability you'll get just for speccing into Prot. Very nice tanking ability. Ranged attack hits three opponents, 3 targets. For heavy mana damage, interrupts any spell casting, silences briefly. Very nice tanking ability, and it's why I think that Paladins have the easiest time starting off with tanking, because Avenger's Shield is just such a nice tanking ability. These mobs hit pretty hard. Make sure your healer can take it. Because we got DPS in so much BOAs, fights are not going to last very long here, so you're not going to see the entire things. Glubtalk, Fists of Fire. You didn't even see his Fists of Frost or his teleport there, really. He likes to teleport to random party members. Just be sure you're ready to pick him back up. Didn't even see his Fists of Frost. Both Fists of Frost and Fists of Flame are really just damage increases. Moving on here, we got these goblins. The males will cast this Motivate ability on you. Not very dangerous. Interrupt if you can, not a big deal if you can't. Females don't really do anything, they pat around. The monkeys are neutral. If you hit them, they will start attacking you, but even if you do, they'll become your friends once you click on that little ball and chain and release them, and they'll start attacking the nearest goblin. You'll notice here that I'm not really using my Holy Power that much. I used it there a minute ago, but for the most part, I'm just sitting on it. That's because the only ability you have to use Holy Power on at this level is Word of Glory. So I'm preferring to just let my Holy Power sit in case I need to use it for a quick emergency heal on myself, as I did a moment ago. Your other abilities at this level for tanking are Crusader Strike, which is your Holy Power generator, Judgment, which is a short range holy damage. These mobs here, by the way, will like to throw axes at random party members, which will cause a fairly nasty bleed dot, so just make sure your healer has the mana going into each pull to deal with it, because it's all on them to keep the people alive through it. Your other ability is Hand of Reckoning, which is your basic taunt ability. I'm not really using it much here. For the most part, Shield, Crusader Strike, and Judgment are enough to let me hold aggro. This boss, the main thing is to just avoid the bombs. They don't have very big explosions, so all you really need to do is make sure you're not standing right on top of them when they go off. The mechanic you just missed there because he died too fast. He likes to pick up random raid members, random group members, and charge them down this little catwalk, this little platform, into the logs there. Just make sure you're not standing in front of him when he does that. After he dies, the goblin will jump onto a random party member and latch on their face, periodically plant bombs on somebody. If you get a bomb on you, just stand away from everybody else. These mobs over here, casters and melee. The miners are the melee. They are not elite. They die very easily. The casters are the more important mobs. They will cast Holy Fire, which hits pretty hard but has a long cast time, so you shouldn't have any trouble taking care of that. And they can buff the miners. Be mindful of that. Those two neutral mobs back there. Some people like to pull them. In here, the Shredders have two basic ability. Only have one ability really, other than their normal attack, and that's Energize, which is basically just a little enrage. That cannot be interrupted by Avenger's Shield or other interrupts, but it can be interrupted by stuns, such as your Hammer of Justice, or if your DPS want to jump in these other Shurs after you defeat them, they can charge and do a knockback to interrupt that as well. Once they all go down, the big guy will come to life. Don't need to take him anywhere because there's no ads in the normal version of this. But he does still do his whirlwind attack, so just stay out of that, and he'll still do his thing where he focuses one player and charges at them. So don't stand in the way of that. Otherwise, just tank him right here wherever you need to. Doesn't really matter. Heh, corn hog. Alright. Again, melee and casters. The melee here like to randomly target a different party member and charge them. If they don't come right back to you, just be ready to pick them back up. The casters like to create these blood zones, which will increase damage taken and dealt by anyone standing inside them. Your DPS want to stand inside them if they can. You do not, and you don't want to let the mob stand inside them. There's also these Shadow Guard guys who will be stealthed until you either hit a barrel of explosives next to them or come into their aggro range. You're not going to see it for a second here, but they will put a debuff on random party members, a set of swirling red blades, which will damage anyone standing near them. If you get that as the tank, you can't, just try to make sure that you're not standing near your casters when you do that. Can't really avoid hitting your melee with it if they're not going to move out themselves. Not too bad on regular mode. And they've gone and pulled the next group without me. Bloody warrior. When you activate the cannon over here, it will blast the door open. 4 mobs will appear. 2 casters, 2 melee. Coming through here, the parrots are non-elite, not very dangerous at all. The more important thing is to pay attention to those blast spots on the ground, because that's where the cannons on the ship are firing at. Getting hit by the cannons will do a little damage to you, but more importantly, it will knock you back. It can knock you off the pier into the water, so be aware of that. You want to wait for a little puff of smoke to blow up from them. That's when the cannonball hits, and you will have a little time to cross them safely. Up here, again, you have caster and melee mobs. The casters in the white shirts, casters in the purple shirts, melee in the white shirts. Melee, again, like to randomly pick a different target and jump at them. They'll come right back to you. Casters cast a spell called Sea Swell, which is basically, damn that warrior, which is basically a chain lightning with an unlimited number of targets. It's absolutely deadly on heroic, but in regular it's not too bad, just more of an annoyance. What the hell, the healer's earth shielding the warrior now instead of me. Anyway, there we go. And the cannons here can be commandeered by players just jumping into them. Dang it. They do decent damage, but more importantly, they stun every time they hit a mob. Stop pulling ahead of me, you jerk. Like I said, they will stun anybody that they hit, any mobs they hit anyway, not players. And here's Rip Snarl. First part here, basic tank and spank until he calls in the fog, at which point you will need to pick up these steam elemental ads. They don't hit too hard and they're very weak, only less than 200 HP, so they should die very easily. If you don't kill them, they will coalesce into larger mobs and eventually explode and do lots of damage, but again, 200 HP, you shouldn't have any trouble taking care of these things very quickly. Just make sure that you're not letting him attack any other party members if you can. More for practice than for anything else. And then just pick him up every time he reappears and hit him until he's dead. Alright, Cookie is your last boss here. He's not really a tank fight. He just throws food at random party members. If you want to, you can pick up the green food, the green swirly food, to give your party members a little more room to work without saying anything bad. If you're gonna do this, try and pick up one of the glowy gold plates of food every once in a while to offset the damage that you're going to be taking from the poisoned food. And bam, 5 dungeon quests completed and 1 all at once. Alright, that was Deadmines.